This is such a fascinating time, and I'm very aware, and it sounds like you are as well. I'm very aware of, okay, by internet standards, I'm a somewhat public figure. There are people that listen, and I feel this obligation to tell people you just have to be aware of what's going on. I don't trust my understanding of investment strategies enough to tell people, hey, go do exactly this. But when I really think about the things that would mess with my head, it would mess with my head if cryptocurrency ends up being what I think it's going to be, and I didn't tell people to at least research it, because my wife and I end up getting just fantastically wealthy, and you have this moment where I know you've dealt with this, where it's like, do I buy an island and retire and just, check out and sip Mai Tais on the beach all day? Or do I recognize that what really matters is meaning and purpose? And so I want lifestyle. I'm with you on that. But at the same time, I want to matter and I want to help other people. And so then you come into the game and you go, okay, who am I going to help? And because of our background, we had about 1,000 employees that grew up in the inner cities. And you just see what a devastating force it is. You come to the realization I talked about earlier, which this is a mindset problem. And so we start thinking about, okay, how are we going to address this? You get in, you realize people's attitudes towards money. And that becomes one of the key areas where I want to help people. So originally it was all about giving people an entrepreneurial mindset so they could control their life. And I really believe in that. And I think that when you think, to me is just taking ownership of your life and recognizing when you have a company, the buck stops with me. I have to figure this out. There's no way to hide, because I'm either going to be able to pay my employees or I'm not. There's just no bullshit in that. And so you realize, okay, the market's always going to win. I have to figure out how to run this company well so that I can pay everybody. So super powerful mindset. Now crypto comes along and I'm like, oh my God, this really is this. It is a moment where all the people who are angry, frustrated, disenfranchised, this is your fucking shot. And I heard you say this. This is so powerful. Thinking about the words you said are giving me the chills, where you said this is the first time where the retail investor, so the average everyday person, gets to front run, meaning go before the big institutions. It's always been the other way around. The big institutions take the cream off the top for themselves, and then all of us get the leftovers. And this is the first time where it's flipped.
So if you think about Robinhood or any of these big IPOs that have just happened, what they're basically doing is there's a bunch of VCs who've made 1,000x, 100x, whatever the number is, and have got obscenely rich, investing in something that you're not allowed to invest in because of the law, because you're not an accredited investor. And in fact, the system's so set up that you're never, ever going to be shown this opportunity. And then at the very end, when the asset's gone up so much, they then list it on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ and dump it on retail when the best gains have been had. Now, within that, there's always going to be an Amazon and a Microsoft and an Apple. But your chances of getting it at the higher price, so you're the 52,000 guy and not the averaging at 30,000, your probability of success is always lower than those guys. So the system is against you. In this, the institutions are being held back by regulation and can't do it, but we're not. And we know that they have a lot of money because it's actually our pensions. And so they're going to put our pensions in this in the end. Well, we might as well make money from them coming into the market later and driving up prices ridiculously, because that is what's going to happen. Once this ETF is listed, every RIA in America is going to be advising their clients to buy the Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum ETF, and it'll drive another $500 billion of price appreciation. This is all coming, and it is the opportunity. And I've tried to set everybody up like you. I've had that sense of responsibility. Real Vision was about that, but it's also a subscription model. So I purposely give ridiculous amounts of information out on Twitter that's free. Subscription model is because I need to pay my staff and create a proper business that has value. But I give much out on free. We give tons of stuff out on YouTube and tons of stuff out on the podcast. And then with crypto, I just thought, fuck it. we're going to give the whole thing away free. So kind of Real Vision Crypto is a free channel. We just said we're going to get sponsors from these big players because they're making tons of money, the exchanges and others. They can pay for everybody else to get access, so I can pay the staff for the crypto stuff because it's that important to me. It's like, guys, I'm giving you everything you need. We do 5 interviews a week with everybody in the space.
And they're so good.
So there's no excuse not to educate yourself. It's all there. At first, you go in there and go, oh, I don't know what this is all about. That's okay. You'll find the thing that interests you and you'll find your way in, and then you'll go down the rabbit hole. But yeah, I passionately believe, that the future of everything is based around community. You have a community in what you do. I have a community around what I do. And part of community is the inherent inherent agreement that you're all in this together. I'm not going to be extractive of you and you're not going to be extractive of me. But together, we can all benefit from being part of this community. Crypto is a community in its own right, and we're all benefiting from being part of that. We're all part of that community. But I think that's why both you and I are very passionate believers in bringing everybody along for the ride. Because everybody around us has enabled us too to build this amazing network and do all of these things. So everybody should share it. And this is something that you'll pick up from my interviews. I've been talking about a lot. All of this is going to get tokenized too. Culture is going to become an investment. The probability of there being a Tom coin within 5 years is something like 100%.
Yeah, so I definitely want to talk about that because I think you've got some really fascinating ideas there. Before we move on, I haven't talked about this publicly, but this idea of a accredited investor. So I don't understand why people aren't rioting in the streets.